Hello and welcome to Helluva Podcast.
Welcome to Helluva Podcast.
I'm Alex.
I'm Audie. The O is silent.
And today we're talking about Spring Broken and C.H.E.R.U.B.
Yeah, season 1, episodes 3 and 4 of everyone's favorite gay little demon show, Helluva Boss. Unless you prefer Husband Hotel. But
you're wrong.
You shouldn't. We're gonna get... who said that? Anyway. Yeah. So, we're just gonna take it scene by scene, starting with Spring Broken?
Yeah, so we're starting with Spring Broken. We've got some notes, so there's a lot of stuff we're not going to touch upon from these episodes, just because, for our analysis at least, like, from what we gathered, they are not as, like...
relevant.
And, like, content-packed.
Yeah, they're great episode. At least I enjoy Spring Broken a lot. C.H.E.R.U.B is my least favorite, as I've said, but they're not bad episodes. They're just not as there's not as much to them as some of the later episodes.
Right.
They definitely set things up that will happen later. But yeah. So I think we anticipate this episode not being as insane as our previous two.
Yeah, and it might be a little shorter.
Yeah, but we'll see.
Yeah. Alright, so the first thing we have is the first scene in Spring Broken. They're all driving to work in the van together.
In the van that they all drive to work together, apparently.
Because there's only one parking spot.
Yeah.
So that means that they canonically all drive in together, which, like, Blitz and Luna makes sense. They live together.
Yeah.
I just have so many questions. How much they have to commute out of their way to pick up Millie and Moxie?
Yeah.
Because we know that canonically they don't live in the same neighborhood just by, like, the sounds you can hear from their houses.
Yeah.
And then do Millie and Moxie not have a car? Or do they just drive in because there's only one spot? Like,
yeah. Because I feel like Millie and Moxie wouldn't really mind, like, parking down the street or something. Obviously Blitz cares about it a lot. Though, that's probably partly just because it's Veronica.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Also, I think Blitz is, like, just really proud of his parking spot.
I was gonna say, yeah, we should psychoanalyze why he cares so much about this parking spot. But yeah, also it was probably out of his control a little bit. I can't imagine he like that.
Oh yeah, that motherfucker hates anything out of his control.
Also, not to break the fourth wall, but should we turn your fan off?
Yeah, we should definitely do that. We'll be right back. We're back.
We're back.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah. Yeah. I see in real life I fucking hate, like, the toxic workplace environment of we're a family, but it's just so fucking funny in this show.
Yeah.
And also, they are a family.
Yeah, they are a family, and it's also the, like, constant, like, backlash against it from everyone but Blitz.
Yeah. And
Blitz just wanting a fucking family, and then but then he's also right.
Yeah.
Like, as the show goes on,
they are a family.
Yeah. I think Millie's kind of been, like, at first she was a little suck-uppy, which I think ties into, I think Millie was very new to the company when the show first started.
Yeah.
But I think, like, after a couple of episodes, she's very, like, much like, yeah, we're a family.
Yeah. She was also, that was mostly in the pilot where she was, like, the most suck-uppy.
Yeah, that's true.
But then, also in that episode, though, when Moxie was like, please stop showing up at our home.
Yeah.
And Millie was like, it's not that bad. So even then, she didn't really give a shit.
Yeah, that's true.
She was just like, yeah, me.
But I think also there was the thing of she was afraid, like she was seeing Blitz as more of her boss than of, like, a friend.
Yeah.
At that point, I think that's also in Murder Family when Moxie's like, sorry.
Yeah.
Why would we have to kill a family?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe maybe a shitty dad or a mob family. But that thing. And Millie's like, well, that's just what we've been told to do, so we have to do it.
Yeah.
And so I think their dynamic changed a lot, which actually we talk about in C.H.E.R.U.B, but we're not going to jump that far.
Yeah. Also, I know every episode we end up jumping to Ozzy's somehow, but just real quick, I wish we'd seen Millie's reaction to Blitz showing up at their date, because obviously we see Moxie being like, are you fucking kidding me? But I don't think we see Millie's reaction at all.
I don't think so either.
I wish we did. maybe when part 2 of that eventually comes out, we'll get more insight to that.
But,
yeah.
She's probably more, like, affected by it than she normally is, because it's, like, their, like, 1 year anniversary. But at the same time, I feel like she wouldn't be that phased.
Yeah, at the very least, she'll definitely be upset that Moxie's upset.
Yeah.
Though I do think they did, I don't know, their date did get to continue, and, like, Blitz did leave, like, right after that.
Yeah.
So it didn't really, like, ruin their night.
They got kicked out.
Oh, yeah, but that wasn't because of Blitz. That was because of their song, or Moxie's song.
I like to think that they went to, like, a little cafe or something after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love them so much.
Me too.
Also, sorry, but sorry,
yeah, you're good.
This is so out of pocket, but the sex was so loving that night.
So true.
Loving
the anniversary sex.
Anniversary sex. I mean that in the most normal way possible.
Moxie got pegged.
Moxie got pegged. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
Going back to our first bullet point, the song that they're singing along to in the van that they're all driving to work together in, first of all, Blitz says, "I love this song," stumbles over all of the lyrics, and then goes, "with the bleach blonde hair."
Yeah.
And that's foreshadowing Veronica.
Yeah.
And this show is so good at foreshadowing.
It's so good at foreshadowing, so good at little details, making literally everything matter. It's so good at that.
Yeah. Like, not a single fucking thing is missed.
Yeah. Even just, like, the details that, like aren't, like, super important. They all, like, connect to something in some way. Everything connects. There's such a great, like, through line in everything. It's so fucking good.
It's so good.
Yeah, and it's a little moment, but it means so much. It's so fucking cool.
And also, Blitz not knowing any of the lyrics to a song that he sings except for the ones that pertain to his ex is so real.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He's so real for that.
Also, in that same scene, Moxie is covering his ears.
Yeah.
Because it's too loud.
Autism.
That motherfucker is autistic.
The M in autism stands for Moxie, no last name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, Millie, like, is, like, leaning out the window, which I think she's...
Yeah.
I love Millie.
I love Millie. We need more Millie. Which we talk about. I have a bullet point later in this episode about that.
Awesome.
But, so, we already talked about the parking spot and how Veronica was there.
Yeah.
But there's a joke made about, I don't know if it's a joke, there's a comment made about Blitz's sister, Barbie Wire, being in rehab.
Yeah.
And I'm really not sure if it's a dig or a real thing.
Yeah.
But so I noticed just the other day, in Aussies, when Veronica's, like, called on, like, our ex, Veronica Mayday, and whatever the hell. She's, like, drinking, she's at the bar, and then she, like, smacks the guy, throws the drink down, and is like, hey. So that makes me think that she does have, like, a drinking issue.
I think she was definitely in rehab. But
it's the question of if Barbie Wire is or isn't.
Yeah, and I lean towards she. My thing is that, because, okay, so for further context, the full line is, like, rehab is for washed up losers or whatever. So your sister says hi. And that could, I agree that it could be interpreted as just, like, a dig, like, your sister's a washed up loser.
Yeah.
But I feel like with Blitz's sister being such a mystery as is, I feel like they wouldn't even imply that she was in rehab if that wasn't true. Just because, like, they had to know the speculation that would come from that. That's my thing. I feel like they wouldn't even say it if that wasn't the case. Yeah.
I also think Veronica pretty much canonically having substance abuse issues. Blitz has substance abuse issues as far as I'm concerned. Or had.
Yeah.
And I think we get into that later. Have we talked about the mystery him not drinking yet?
We might have mentioned it briefly. We probably put a pin in it because it's more of
I think the only time it's an Aussies part 2, which we haven't gotten.
Right.
And
right. Okay. Yeah.
And there's one thing in X's and O's.
Yeah. So we noticed that we've never, other than in X's and O's, when Blitz takes, like, a singular maybe sip,
which we'll get into.
Drink. Yeah, we'll get into that. Other than that, we don't see him drink alcohol at all throughout the series, and we know that, one, we know his sister is probably maybe most likely in rehab.
Yeah.
If that is to be believed. So we know that. We know that his dad is an alcoholic for sure. That's in the circus. And we know that whenever Stolas is like, or in the circus, no, in Ozzy's, when Stolas is like, wine or whatever, and Blitz is like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, he doesn't like.
He is spying on Eminem. But
yes, but he also like. He does look over at Stolas later in the conversation. I think like the next thing he says after that. So it seems like it could be a double-edged sword of avoidance. Like he's like, I'm busy. I'm not listening to you. I'm not, because he's asking about that.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. Seems like a very I can't drink in an AA kind of way, kind of behavior.
Yeah.
And also another thing is we know basically canonically that Veronica has substance abuse issues, and they dated.
Yeah.
And so that's my thing is I would believe that Veronica and Blitz and Barbie Wire during the Amazing Imp Twins, if Veronica and Blitz were dating during the Amazing Imp Twins, which would make sense, that all three of them were very heavily engaging in substance in an unhealthy way.
Yeah.
That would make the most sense. And then it raises the question of why didn't Blitz go to rehab? Did Blitz go to rehab? There's like a lot of layers there. Oh, God,
yeah. And yeah, this all goes into, there's a clip from a teaser, like a clip from, do we know what episode that's going to be from? Is that Ozzy's part 2?
It's sure? Ozzy's part, I believe so.
Because I know we were saying, like, what if it is? Because that would mean that Blitz and Stolas both got drunk after the events of Ozzy's, but I don't remember if we knew that for sure.
It might not be for sure.
Oh, no, but it would make sense because we know that episode is done, and the clip was in full color animation, so that would make sense.
Yeah, and I think it was also part of the 22 trailer, right? Not the 23?
I think... I'm not sure.
I'm pretty confident.
Okay.
We saw it as a standalone clip, but I believe it was part of the 22 trailer.
Yeah. But anyway, in that clip, Blitz appears to be very clearly drunk. And... I mean, regardless of if we're just reading too much into this, which I don't think we are, but even if we are, it's the first time we've seen him drunk, and that's definitely significant.
Yeah, especially with, like, we've seen other characters drunk.
Yeah, we've seen Moxie drunk.
Moxie, which we're going to talk about in this episode. But
I forgot that was this episode, yeah.
And, like, we've seen Moxie drunk, and Moxie doesn't seem like a big drinker.
No.
Blitz seems like a drinker.
Yeah.
So I think... it's really intentional. And also the thing in X's and O's, which I know is not this episode, but he, like, swishes the cup around and is, like, awkward about it.
Yeah.
Which says something to me. And then also when he does actually, like, quote-unquote take a sip, it's such a loud, like, which when they drink in the show otherwise, it doesn't make that sound.
Yeah, it's such, like, a deliberate sipping noise, and it's also... like, it doesn't really look like he took a sip either.
No, it looks full the entire time.
Yeah.
Except for when he spills some.
Yeah. Also, and I don't want to... we shouldn't dive too deep into this now, because we will in X's and O's, but that whole conversation is so, like, tense and awkward. And, like, if you consider, like, Crimson handing Blitz a cup of an alcoholic beverage is, like, a factor into that, like, that's... yeah.
Especially where Blitz doesn't get, like... tripped up. Like, he was being, like, very, like, oh, no, I was in the circus for a while, like, all confident, and then he hands him the drink, and he's, like, less confident.
Yeah.
And
well, though also the thing that Crimson says right before that is show business, good money in that, and that could also trigger some alarm bells related to his father, also, which I believe
getting handed alcohol. Wow.
Oh my god. Yeah, I think there's layers.
I think so too.
I think it's one of those things where, like, in the moment it makes sense based on what we know, but then later on it's gonna make even more sense.
Yeah, and I love this
so
show.
Good at doing in this fucking show.
Vivzy Pop, we love you.
Vivzy Pop, all of the writers.
Gives a little kiss.
Gives the microphone a kiss. For Vivzy Pop, all the writers, everyone who works on the show.
Yeah.
Also, yeah. Wait, sorry. Do I have your consent to give you a kiss? Okay.
Perfect.
Consent's important. Anyway.
I was about to be like, I can't say that because it's not canonic that that's a thing, but you know what I was going to say.
Oh, wait, which which relationships. We have so many.
Mainly Chaz, but also
Chaz.
maybe Fizz.
Maybe Fizz. Yeah.
We'll get into that later.
We'll get into that. We keep saying we're gonna get into that.
Not in this episode.
No.
Blitz used Veronica's credit card to get horseback riding lessons.
Yeah, I love this autistic ass motherfucker so much.
He loves his fucking horses.
He loves his horses. I really wanna know. I have something in my eye. Ignore me. I really wanna know how long Blitz and Veronica were dating. And also, I just want to know how that came about. Also, maybe Veronica gave Blitz her credit card one time for hey, can you order this thing or whatever? And then he was just la 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 horse riding lessons, or did he just fully take it? What happened?
No, he fully takes it because the whole thing is that he leaves her in a hotel room, doesn't pay for it, takes her credit card,
right. How can I forget?
Pays for horseback riding lessons.
Yeah.
Does horseback riding lessons.
I love him so much.
Me
I want to
too.
know what he was doing at that time of his life, too. Do we think him and Veronica were post-circus? During circus?
My guess...
Or during Imp Twins, rather. Probably not during circus.
No, definitely not during circus. My guess is during Imp Twins / The Amazing Blitzo.
Yeah.
Which... No, that's next episode. I need to pace myself. I have thoughts about that I haven't even told you yet. About
C.H.E.R.U.B or
about the
Harvest Moon?
solo show. And, oh wait, that's not... Is that C.H.E.R.U.B? No. Wait.
Sorry.
Hold on.
Excited.
Hold on, wait, no, wait, when was that? Oh, it was Lululand, so I can talk about it.
Yay!
So the Incredible Blitzo, whatever the fuck that was
the
called.
Amazing Blitzo.
Yeah, the one night only thing.
One night only.
Fizz in Lululand, Robot Fizz,
yes.
makes a comment about, scaring the kitties away, which we talked about last time, but he also says something along the lines of, with your bad jokes. Mm-hmm. So it makes me wonder, what was Blitz's solo show?
Yeah.
Because
we know in... Sorry, you can finish your thought if you want to.
Because, a lot of the stuff that he did actually, trick-wise with Fizz was very partner-heavy. He wouldn't have been able to do that.
Yeah.
And then he wasn't the main, comedian or anything in it, or, with the balloons and things. So, was it a comedy show? What was it?
Yeah, because... And we know when it was, him and Fizz as kids, his jokes didn't land.
Mm-hmm.
And the balloon animals didn't work that well either. So yeah, what did he do? That's a great question.
I'm not sure that it was a comedy show, but that's just it sparked my brain.
Yeah. There's also though, because we have a lot of theories that I think we've gone into before about how he got his scar.
Yeah.
One of those theories being a performing accident. So
yeah.
Now I'm wondering if he attempted a more partner heavy trick by himself.
Yeah.
And it went wrong.
There's also the fact of we don't know that that's scars. To be fair.
We don't know.
You want it to be scars, I know.
I believe it is. We're very funny about our theories because we're on the same page about all of the potential theories, but then we both lean in slightly different ways about different things sometimes.
I'm not saying it's not a scar. I definitely do believe it is a scar, but I think there's also evidence to it that it's not, and so I don't know for sure.
But he didn't have it as a teenager.
Yes, but it also has the dots all on his body. And half of his
could have been a really fucked up accident.
No,
Robo-Fizz lost all his limbs. There is no
I
don't
think that was an accident though. Which we have more theories about Robo-Fizz.
Right.
Which we'll get into.
But still, that's I'm saying if Fizzarelli can lose all of his fucking limbs, Blitz can have an accident so bad that scars his entire body.
Yes.
I don't think there's a line that's crossing.
I don't think it's a line that's crossing either. But I think that there's also other things that it could be.
I agree. But I don't think that's as interesting, and I don't think the animation would be as deliberate if that were the case. That's my point.
That's fair, yeah.
I like looking at it from, both, within the context of the show, but then also I think looking at it from a more, meta standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Would the animators do this if that were true? That kind of thing.
My only other theory that I'm there's other ones. The only other one with the white patches that I am strong about is that it's vitiligo, because that gets worse with time.
That's true. I could see that one.
That's my only other one.
I feel like...
And I'm not, like, trying to disprove you. I
know.
I'm just saying that because we gotta give both sides.
Yes. No, you're right. And I'm not trying to argue. I mean, I'm arguing.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. No, you're good.
Way. I'm just like, no.
Yeah.
I think you're right about that. That's definitely a possibility. My only thing with that is that I think that's something that would have been confirmed outside of the show, because they would want to be like, this is, like, what that's representing.
That's
and I don't
true.
know that they haven't confirmed it, so maybe that's...
I also don't know that anyone else has thought about this, or, like, made comments about this online.
Surely someone must have.
Right, but I've never seen it. So, if no one else has brought it up, then they might not have confirmed it.
Do you want to go into the next bullet point while I briefly look to see if anyone's mentioned anything about Blitz having vitiligo?
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so, the next one is Moxie and Millie being bye for bye.
Bye for bye!
Because when we meet Veronica, and find out that Blitz dated her, first of all, everyone's like so surprised, and Moxie's like, is she suffering from some kind of brain damage?
Also, he says, is she blind?
Yeah.
Implying that Blitz is ugly, which is a funny thing to say about your boss.
Right? It's so funny. And then Millie says, what was sex with her like? And Moxie's like, Millie! And then she says, what? You'd want to know what sex with Michael Crawford was like? And he goes, touche. So that implies bye for bye. We know canonically that Moxie is bi.
And Millie...
We know Millie likes women.
Yes.
We don't know her sexuality for sure, but she likes men and she likes women.
Yeah.
So, for now, bye for bye.
So there are... I'm reporting back. There are... I've seen multiple Reddit threads of people being like, does Blitz have vitiligo? So that is a semi-common theory, at least. I can't see anything about it being confirmed. But I see someone pointing out that, like, having different skin patterns is, like, common among imps from what we've seen. It's just that Blitz's does seem more severe.
Also, Blitz's develops over time, that's the thing.
Yes, someone also pointed that out. This person says, theory, Blitz paints him part of his skin white.
That, I don't go with that.
Let me read more of this before I...
Like, the only reason I could think that is maybe so that he doesn't look like Blitz-O, but I don't strongly believe that.
Oh, well, okay, so here's... No, that's not right, because what their argument is that in this screen cap, which I believe is from... this is from C.H.E.R.U.B, actually, when they're, like, dressing up in those outfits and sneaking into the guy's mansion in C.H.E.R.U.B. Blitz has, like, face paint on, and people are saying, like, well, none of the white spots are there, so it seems like he paints them on, but I don't think that's true. I think that the face paint's just covering them, which seems obvious. I don't know. Also, they're saying there are some inconsistencies in the white shape, but I don't think that's...
It's an independent animator, that's probably all that is.
And they're also like, look, the white goes up to his eyebrow here, but then here it doesn't. And it's like, first of all, it's from a completely different angle. Second of all, I don't think that... I know we overanalyze, but I don't think that's anything.
No.
So, yeah,
I would like the theories that it's scarring or that it's vitiligo better.
And to be clear, the vitiligo representation would be great, and I have no issue with that.
I would
lean towards Liscar's theory.
But I also agree that I feel like VisiPop might, like, probably would confirm that.
Yeah.
Unless, though, there's so much talk about this show online, like, maybe she just hasn't seen that theory.
Maybe, but I feel like if that was the intention, she would have said it anyway. I mean, especially if not a lot of people were noticing it, I feel like she'd want to point it out.
Yeah. Well, there is that whole thing that a lot of creators follow about silent representation, about not being a big deal about it, and I think that VisiPop kind of does do that. Like, you think about it, she doesn't, like, other than Moxie's sexuality now, she doesn't really talk about, like, sexualities openly and things like that.
I would argue the opposite.
Okay.
Because and I don't have specific sources for this, but I know that a lot of things, I think both in Has-Been Hotel and Helluva Boss, and Has-Been Hotel makes a lot of sense too, because it's only the one episode out right now.
Yeah.
So, like, a lot of the content from that has come from, like, things that VisiPop has said outside of the show.
Okay.
But I feel like I think there's been a lot of, the phrase, like, word of God canon.
Yeah.
Like Blitz being pansexual, that's not in the show. That was something she said, like, on Twitter or whatever. I don't know.
No, that wasn't that wasn't her. That was
the Instagram account.
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to say. I feel like a lot of the stuff wasn't her.
But I do feel like I get the impression that she wants people to know about it. Even if it's not made a big deal out of, I get the impression that she wants people to know. Mm-hmm. And I
think you should add her on Twitter.
I'm not even on Twitter anymore.
Does Blitz have vitiligo?
Someone's got to ask.
Someone's got to ask. I don't have Twitter either.
Surely someone must have, though. If it's... just in a quick Google search, I saw like 4 different Reddit threads.
Yeah.
So...
That's true. And I'm not... Like, I could see either way.
Yeah.
I just don't think it can be ruled out.
No, I don't think so either.
But no, I like the scarring idea too.
I like the scarring theory because there are so many possibilities for how it happened.
Yeah.
And all of them make me feel crazy.
That's fair. But also the thing that throws me off is that like all the the freckles and things like that, and like Millie has a different skin pattern too.
Yeah.
Like on her body rather than her face. Like that's the thing that throws me off about it.
But see, knowing Millie as a character, is it all that crazy to believe that she would also have some scars just from...
No, that's fair, but her scars are very much, like, lined up perfectly, that if they're scars. That's the thing. But...
God, I don't know, but
maybe it's scarring from one specific accident that all happened in one part of her body. That would make sense.
Yeah, they could also be, like, not birthmarks, but, like, some sort of other mark, because when you think about it, like, on humans, freckles and scars, in terms of like the coloring of them, are like pretty similar in color. No, not really, but like
freckles and scars. Scars are like white or like flesh tone, depending on how like severe they are, and freckles are brown.
but I just feel... Okay, here's what I'm trying to say. They're not exactly the same, but I feel like for them to represent both of those with the same colors in Helluva, I feel like that's not far-fetched.
Oh, no, definitely not. And we also know canonically that... I don't know why I said canonically. Obviously canonically. Moxie's freckles are white. So Millie's birthmarks, say, being white wouldn't be too far-fetched. Absolutely not.
I'm saying like any skin markings of any kind. It would make sense for them to just use white to represent all of those. Yeah. I don't know what else they would, other than like a darker shade of red, maybe, but I feel like that doesn't really fit the animation style.
No. Oh, no, I agree.
Yeah. I don't know.
Basically, I think what we've concluded from this is Blitz either has vitiligo or was in a terrible, horrible accident.
Yeah. I don't know how we got on this topic, but we can continue.
Yeah, I think we can talk more about that. Honestly, we can talk more about that next episode when we see the full body shot.
In
Harvest Moon.
Harvest Moon, next podcast episode. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, moving on.
Do you want to do the Luna Blitz dad thing?
Oh, yeah.
You're very excited about this?
Yeah, because this is, where are we in our notes? Okay, I see. When they're walking, like, into the building, like, after first encountering Verosika, they're, like, on their way to their office, and I don't remember the full context of the line, but, Blitz says something... Sorry, I just saw someone sprinting full speed across the field outside of the window. Anyway, Blitz says something to Luna, and Luna goes like, "Shut up, Dad! Blitz!" And she's like so angry about it, and like...
And Blitz's eyes literally light up like the stickers we have.
Literally light up.
Oh, mine's on my phone.
Stars in his eyes.
Yeah, he goes...
He wants a family so
He does.
And he has one, but like they don't all even know it yet, but they're a family.
He just wants people to love him.
Yeah. The first episode of the show being called Murder Family and referring to the family, like the human family, but like they are a murder family. Mm-hmm. It's like even the episode title is like foreshadowing and hinting at it's like double meaning. Mm-hmm. Oh my god, I'm gonna pass out. Okay, anyway.
The next one is not on that note. It's about Verosika. She on her bicep has a tattoo of Blitz's name.
We think
it looks like it.
It looks like it. It definitely starts with a B.
Yeah,
it's in a heart, and it's crossed out.
And it's crossed out. So we think that she got a tattoo, which I know that every time I say this to people, that they think, like, Veronica would impulse get a tattoo of Blitz's name, but I don't think so. I don't think she would. I think they would have had to been dating for a significant amount of time. Even if it was a publicity thing, like, she might have done it because, like, oh, their starlights and so she got it to, like, represent that. But I don't think it was like people are like, they probably dated for like a month. I don't think so.
Yeah, I think there's, even before we realized the tattoo thing, I was already leaning towards, I think they had a significant relationship of significant length.
Yes.
Even though I really, really want to know the timeline of events, of everything, but of their relationship. I want to know, like, I think, oh God, the thing you said before is really sticking in my brain about Blitz, Veronica, and Barbie Wire having, like, a toxic substance abuse friendship thing going on.
Yeah, especially in... I honestly think that them calling the circus showbiz in X's and O's was a big thing, because I think it's a commentary on the acting world in, like, America, at least.
In which episode? Sorry?
In X's and O's, they make the showbiz line.
Yeah.
And I think that it's very parallel to acting, because the only time we see acting as a thing, like as an industry, is in the human world. And they throw Blitz into that as if it's like the parallel of his circus days.
Sorry. Yes.
Uh-huh.
I just zoomed in to look at Veronica's tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely says Blitz without the O.
Oh, God.
Which, because, okay, and we will maybe put this on the Instagram story or something, right?
Yeah.
There's the B, the L, I, that's a Z right there. Like, definitely that's a Z.
Yeah.
And there's no O after it, for sure.
And it's in cursive.
I'm gonna screenshot that.
Yeah, put it on the Instagram.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Because we know now that she calls him, oh my God, we know she calls him Blitzo now, but specifically because he doesn't like it. Like, she knows. But then that raises the question of when they started dating, because he must have already dropped the O, or he did while they were dating.
Not necessarily, though. Maybe it's a nickname, like people do in relationships.
It could be, but before he left the circus, remember he like highlighted the O. He was really proud of the O.
Yeah, but I could see like shorthand, like Blitz instead of Blitzo.
I could see it too, I guess. But I feel like if you're... Yeah, I guess I could see it.
Which raises the question of, did she give him the nickname? And is he running with the nickname that Veronica gave him?
Oh my God!
Which is a whole thing.
Yeah, that's a possibility. But then the alternative that they didn't start dating until after he left, or at least until after he dropped the O, which would have been fully after everything. And Twins, Amazing Blitzo, everything. Or they started dating before that, but were still dating when he left.
That's a possibility. I was going to say, I don't think they would have started dating then, just because I feel like Blitz's whole, like, worthiness to be dating Veronica is very tied into him being famous.
Yeah.
And so unless there was something else he was famous for in between, which is possible, I don't see that being a thing.
Yeah, that's so true.
That's actually a big note on here, is like at one point he was considered worthy enough to date Veronica and to be in the spotlight with Veronica, but then like in this episode he's being looked down upon and he hates it.
That's actually the part where you see the tattoo. That's that part where they're like, you're gonna challenge us, and he's really fucking pissed and does not like that. But what I was gonna say is that it also makes sense that they started dating while he was still, like, famous and in the circus and everything, because Veronica knows Barbie Wire. Yeah. And, like, yeah, she could have met Barbie Wire, like, through Blitz, like, afterwards. Yeah. But I wonder what Veronica and Barbie Wire's history is, because was her, like, whether the rehab statement was true or not, it was a dig at his sister, but was that purely to piss off Blitz, or does Veronica have beef with Barbie Wire as well?
I'm not sure. I think we will definitely find out when we get Barbie Wire.
Yeah.
Which, that's another thing that makes me really think the rehab thing is true, is because we just haven't seen Barbie Wire for this whole time. Yeah. And, like, Blitz obviously has a lot of, like, repentment towards his sister and, like, wants to see his sister.
Yeah.
So her being in rehab, and then we know canonically that she's going to show up this season.
Yeah.
So I feel like her being in rehab is a really good explanation for that.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. Oh my god, it's all clicking together.
Also, just a small note. This just could be an art style thing, but I think it's worth noting. I'm pretty sure the X over the Blitz tattoo and the X over Barbie Wire's branding is the same X.
Now I need to look that up.
But I'm pretty sure, and that's a whole thing of, did they X them out in rehab together? Or is it just an art style thing?
Veronica and Barbie Wire getting, like, pissed the fuck off about life and Blitz and everything.
And they're able to stop Blitz, so, and then the branding, because it matches Blitz. But that's not actually, never mind, I take that all back. That's not true, because in the Amazing Imp Twins, it's crossed out.
Right.
So that's not a possibility. But, I don't know.
And also, isn't Barbie Wire's crossed out in white?
I'm not sure. I thought it was black.
Let me look it up.
I thought it was the same black X, but I could be very wrong. It's the same, like, style, at least, but that might just be an art style thing. I just thought about that.
Yeah. Good picture of it. It's definitely white, though, yeah.
Okay, never mind. I lied. I'm a lying liar who lies.
She has the white.
Yeah, and it's, like, different, though.
But it looks like, because we know for a fact from the picture of them in Blitz's phone that she had the marking previously. So we know that she crossed it out herself.
Yes.
So I'd assume that a lot of those markings on her arms are also...
Well, another thing, too, is in this picture, Blitz has, like, stripes on his arms, so that might be a costume.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's more stylistic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I But I'm curious how she crossed out her branding.
Yeah.
Like, did she, like, cross it out? Because if we're assuming that the white is, like, skin markings of some kind, did she, like, scar it to get rid of it? Like, because it's a tattoo.
That's true. And also, are the brandings tattoos or are they scars?
Oh. But I think we know canonically, or not within the Helluva boss canon, but I think in, like, Hell lore, I think, like, imps and demons, like, scars show up as white. I think that's a fact. Let me double check that.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So I think it would be white, but that's interesting. Let's see, demon scars.
No, I think you're right. I don't know why I was picturing them as white. I think because we were looking at Barbie Wire. Because underneath, is it black or is it white?
You can't see underneath her marking. We can't see.
Okay.
Yeah, but here, if we pull up.
So yeah, I think that she did doing it in white in general is at least prevalent.
Yeah.
That, like, they specifically animated it as a white X and not a black X, so I feel like it probably is a scar.
And it's the same, like, the same exact white as, like, you know, the canon, like, the freckles, Blitz's thing. Like, it's definitely, like, a bodily color.
And, like, how did she do that?
And this ties into my theory that Blitz's scar was him trying to get rid of his branding, but fucking it up somehow.
Yeah, I was gonna say he missed it so completely. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's why.
So that's why I feel like the idea of maybe during his solo show or even during the Amazing Imp Twins, him fucking himself up somehow.
Yeah,
that makes more sense.
Yeah, I'm trying to see.
Like, just because also the Amazing Blitzo, is that before or after he worked at Lululand?
Ooh.
Because if it's after he worked at Lululand, maybe he just got so fed up and so, like, I need to prove myself that he tried something really dangerous.
Yeah. Oh, I could totally see that. Wait, did he have the scar in the Lululand clip?
Look it up.
I'm gonna look it up.
I'm gonna move on just because we are gonna run out of time.
Yeah, we remember when we were like, this will be a short one. No, yeah, it's not that intense.
We're crazy.
To be fair, we go off topic a lot.
Yeah, and to be fair, we talked about a lot of this already.
Okay, cool.
Just gonna pull it back as a point, though.
Wait, what am I? Lululand. Okay,
Lululand.
sorry, go ahead.
Just pull it back as a point. Blitz really, especially, like, in general, but in this episode especially, hates being laughed at or, like, belittled. And is really intense about it. And I just feel like that's worth noting. And that he was at once seen good enough to date Veronica and now not. Like, everyone's like, oh my god, can't believe you were dating her. And, like, are you sure? Like, doubting him and stuff.
Yeah.
But, at one point, he was very much seen capable of that. So that's something.
Yeah.
Blitz says to Moxie at some point, why don't you know how to take criticism? And the bullet point I put under this is Blitz pack up the projection.
Real.
That's that.
Yeah.
The whiteboard. I'm going to talk about the whiteboard while you're looking for that. There's a lot on the whiteboard. First of all, there's a list of potential horse names. And then this is skipping ahead to C.H.E.R.U.B, but I just want to tie all the whiteboard stuff. Mm-hmm. In the whiteboard in C.H.E.R.U.B, there is a drawing of Fizz being fed to the big creature that they fight in Spring Broken, and an arrow with the word "ha" with an exclamation point, like Blitz does, at him getting eaten. So I think that's something. And then also Walk Bitch pointing to a drawing of Veronica in a car. And there's also a horse mood board, which is just drawings of horses with different emotions. So yeah, the whiteboard is hilarious.
Okay. At the balloon cart in Lululand, we see... No, I don't think he does have the scar. He has face paint on, and it's seeing, like, the other side of his face, but I'm pretty sure he does not have the scar.
And it's really interesting that the face paint is under the marking.
Whoa, what?
The branding.
Yeah. Or maybe just going around it.
Oh, yeah, that's possible.
Maybe it just doesn't show up over it, or it just went around it. Yeah. Also, it seems... The marking really seems to mirror, like, clown makeup, now that I think about it. Like, this feels like a mirroring of that.
Yeah, and I definitely see what you're saying. My only thing... Well...
I'm pretty confident it's not there.
But I agree, especially because they intentionally have this red line here on the other side that's not white. Showing, like, the other side of his face is there. So I agree with you, but there is the chance that this face paint is just covering it up because his marking ends, like, right above his eye.
Let me look up a picture from him from... I agree. I think it could go either way, but I'm leaning towards it not being there for sure.
Yeah, and then that proves our theory of it being an accident during the solo show, if that solo show happened after he worked at Lululand, which I feel like it probably did.
It would make a lot of sense, because like, considering, like, how bitter he looks
yeah.
there, and, like... Okay, so this is Blitz from, like, a similar angle. The scar starts... Excuse us while we look very closely at screen
The thing
caps.
is, the face paint is also white, so we don't really know.
God.
But it's
Which
definitely...
is so intentional, though.
Yeah.
With it being, like, having that clown imagery. It's like he can't escape it, even... Oh my fucking god, I love this show. Especially if the scar is from, like his final attempt at, like, his own show, his own thing. And then it goes badly, and then he has a scar to remind him of that incident and his days in the circus for the rest of his life.
And also, a scar is so visible that people are gonna ask what it is.
And also, I feel like if he doesn't have the scar here in this scene, this would have been, when did we figure out that this was, this was like 12 years ago, roughly.
Yes.
The scene. So I guess it still could be the vitiligo. But he has, like, a full adult here already.
Yeah.
Is my only thing.
Vitiligo does increase with age, though, in general, specifically older adults, but Blitz is not an older adult.
No.
So...
He'd be going from, like, what, 23 to 35?
Yeah, roughly, and I'm going to be completely honest with the podcast. I don't know a ton about vitiligo.
You know more than me. I don't know anything.
So I could be wrong, and so that's why I'm not, like, too adamant on the theory.
Yeah. Let me save these two pictures to my camera roll so I can scroll between them. Yeah, I'll post this picture on the story as well, so you can let us know if you think he has the scar or not. It is kind of ambiguous, but I really don't think he does.
Yeah, I don't think he does either.
Like, yeah, that red...
Yeah, like, part, I think that red line is so intentional.
That's so intentional. Oh, my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it would be this whole... It'd be going, like this. Mm-hmm. So, like, this part, at least, would be white. Would be white. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure as well.
It's like things are clicking into place, but also it's like with everything we figure out, it raises like 3 more possibilities.
Yeah, and that's like, the danger of figuring stuff out on the podcast.
Yeah.
But it just always happens because we talk about stuff and I'm like, oh, wait.
Yeah. Also, we're really digging ourselves into a hole if just one tiny piece of our theory turns out to be wrong, then the whole thing comes crumbling down.
But that's so fun because we get to rearrange it all.
Yeah, that's so true. It's just like we're gonna like watch the next episode, which is coming out this weekend. This weekend, everyone get fucking hype. So, but while I'm on that topic, this episode of the podcast and all episodes before it, the most recent episode of Helluva as of now is X's and O's, which we've said before, but assuming there's no major delays, the next time you hear from us will be post season 2 episode 4.
Yes.
And from there on out. Yeah.
Yep.
And what the fuck was I saying? The next episode's gonna drop and just disprove everything we talked about. We're gonna be like, oh, okay.
But that's fine because then we get to reanalyze it.
Yeah.
Did you want to talk about Luna's disguise? Because you have a lot more feelings than I do about it.
Luna, oh god, yeah. So I believe you said it's giving Total Drama Island.
Yes.
Her human disguise, which puts it into words so perfectly. It's so ugly. It's so, it's like if we only knew her as that human version of herself, it'd be like, okay. But, it's not,
a downgrade?
It's a downgrade. I don't like it. I get why they do it, but I wish they wouldn't. This goes into what our good friend Connie says about wanting to have sex with a humanized version of something versus the original version. Mm-hmm. It's like, don't be a fucking coward. If you're gonna fuck the wolf, fuck the wolf. You know what I mean?
And also another thing about it is I feel like her human version looks like a 16-year-old.
She is only 18.
22, I think.
Oh, you're right, 22. Yeah.
But I feel like her wolf self, or hellhound self, I guess, looks 22.
Yeah.
But her human self looks so much younger.
Yeah.
And so that's definitely something.
Yeah. Also, I didn't mean it in a fully sexual way, by the way.
Oh, no, I know. I think it's also just a note, it doesn't... I feel like it doesn't fit her character as well.
Yeah, I just prefer her as a wolf. It's not really that deep. I just I wish she should just be a wolf.
Yeah, real.
I understand why they did it or whatever. And also I know we'll get to this, but Stolas' human design.
Yeah, that's gonna be Seeing Stars. That's gonna be a whole section of Seeing Stars.
He's such a fucking twink.
Yeah.
/ an egg. / egg. And hashtag not my Stolas again. Okay, anyway. Where are we?
Blitz is canonically bad at spelling.
Right. Really bad at spelling.
Really bad at spelling.
We see this throughout the show.
Yeah, but I don't know why I noted it here. But the part I wanted to mention, which I might have already mentioned, is did he go to school? And I said this the other day because I've been thinking it, but I said it to you and you freaked the fuck out. Did he just work his entire childhood?
Right.
Because that's what I've been thinking when I say he didn't go to school. I thought he was just working every single day.
Circus.
Which I think is very possible.
I think so too, yeah.
And then that also raises the question, was that the same thing going on with Fizz? Were they, never educated, and so them getting higher up or not getting higher up in the world is a big thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And even if it was, some kind of homeschooling situation thing. That might work for some people, but definitely not for Blitz and his fucking dad.
Yeah, and also thinking back on, this being an analogy for, the acting industry in America specifically. I don't know about the rest of the world. That is something that typically happens, especially with families that are, very, very into showbiz and, their kids being stars is, their whole thing.
Yeah.
They tend to lack education, or like there's like on-set tutors and things like that. Yeah. But with the circus and it being like they all live there and things, makes me wonder if that is a thing. And if it is, did they get time with these tutors? Or because we know, like, especially Fizz is in, like, we know he's in more shows than Blitz as a kid. Like, he's always working. Yeah. So I don't know. It just raises a lot of questions of how they grew up and like what experiences they got, like too much of, not enough of, and things like that. Yeah. And especially like also they play with the balloon animals, which is such a little thing, and they might just be playing with them because they just made them. But it stands out to me because it's like we don't see any toys, any kids stuff in their tent. No. And also, does Fizz live with them? Like, there's a lot of stuff.
So much.
But like the fact that that's their first thing, that the things they're playing with are ketchup. And the ketchup bottles in Reach, by the way. Yeah. And balloon animals that they made in their show. Yeah. Is something, I think. About how they grew up.
Oh my god, we're gonna have a ball with the circus when we go there. If we don't talk about everything before we get there.
Yeah, that's true. I think also when we get to the circus, something I do want to mention then is the parallel between Stolas not having any toys and Blitz not having any toys in different ways.
Yeah, fuck. Yeah,
and the different kinds of neglect there is.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Anyway, directly correlating to this, Blitz is so overprotective of Luna. Yeah. In Spring Broken specifically, but in general.
In general, yeah. Oh my god, I want to get more of their like development as a father and daughter relationship, because in Seeing Stars, like we get, you know, a little bit like Luna's angry at him, but then like talking to Octavia, she like resolves it and like realizes like, you know, he cares even if he fucks up. But we
also get a little bit of her background in Seeing Stars.
Yes.
But it's not enough.
It's not enough. And I want like to see more in her and Blitz, like like them figuring things out. Yeah. You know, not figuring things out through other people.
I also need to know, like, what is Luna's trauma? Yeah. Like, is it specifically dad-oriented? Is that why she's so hesitant to, like, call him dad and, like, things like that? Well, I'm not going to talk about it a lot because that's going to be a very long, big conversation in Seeing Stars. But, I don't know, the scene in the jail cell, the way she reacts to things and stuff.
You mean
the jail cell, pound cell. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Jail cell, basically.
Yeah.
Anyway, it says things, and I want to dive deeper into it. But I think that there might be some past experience that obviously past experience that makes her the way she is, but like a very specific thing that more than like we might be thinking.
And also Blitz having daddy issues, self-proclaimed daddy issues.
Yes.
And then just the fact that he wants to be a better dad for his daughter in general, but also Luna also having daddy issues, that would be even more powerful.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. The parental relationships in this show make me want to eat glass.
Eat glass, chomp it.
It makes me want to put sand in my mouth and then heat it up and turn it into glass and then eat it again. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on.
I think that's it about that. Another thing, though, about Luna and Blitz, Luna at some point in the, Spring Broken says he'll get over it. He always does.
He always does, yeah.
What does that mean?
They definitely argue a lot. And that's, like, that makes sense. Like, yeah, I feel like we could have guessed that, but...
Yeah, and this was in the sense of an argument, I believe.
But, like, how else has she... You know, like, what... Oh, my God. Blitz, like, getting over it for her benefit. Like, no matter how much, like, what she says upsets him.
Yeah, which we've seen.
Which we've seen. And he's like, well, trying to be patient with her because she's his daughter and, like, she needs time. And just, like... putting her feelings before his because he cares about her. And yeah, I want to know, though, exactly, like, oh my god, I need more.
I was going to say, there's also another layer to that. Like, that's great, but there's another layer to it of, like, how long have they been together? Like, how long since the adoption has passed?
Well, she's 22, isn't she?
Oh, yeah.
And she was 17, so, like, 5 years?
So then we need to figure out the timeline, which we know that, IMP has been around for a while, but like, what other hardships did he face, and what does she know about him? Like, does she know about his backstory? Have they had conversations?
And we know, I can't remember if we talked about this on the podcast, but we know that in that clip we were talking about earlier with Blitz being drunk in that one episode, we know that Luna is like, you know, like watching over him and like being like, nope, don't do that, nope. So it's like either she's seen him like that before, or she just knows, or knows from, you know, maybe her father or one of her family members, just like knows what to do in that situation. And
and also I think it's more than that though. I think
too.
Either she's seen him in that situation or she just knows him so well. I also would beg that Blitz is the type of drunk to like make a ton of jokes about his trauma, and then someone asks him about it, and then he's like, what do you mean? And he like accidentally trauma dumps and like answers all their questions through like jokes and being like, well, like
but I feel like Blitz, for the benefit of the daughter that he had plans of adopting, I feel like he wouldn't want to do that until he was sober. Adopt Luna. That is. Do you know what I mean? Did that make sense?
Oh, yes, 100%, but I'm saying in the sense of a relapse.
Okay, yeah, I thought you meant, though, like, if she's seen him drunk before, I don't know that she has, is what I'm saying.
No, that's fair, but we also don't know that this is the first relapse.
That's true. That's true.
I don't think it's a habit. I don't think it happens often.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
But also you're right that Luna probably goes out and parties and does this with her friends, and
yeah, that's true.
And I think that also shows that she cares about him.
Not until recently with the Vortex guy. She didn't have friends before that.
That's true, but even like you go to a party, you meet someone who's like super drunk, you take care of them. Like I could see Luna being and that would really conflict with her character, but in a way that I could see would happen.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on to Drunk Moxie.
Which is such a great segue. It's like, anyway, Blitz's substance abuse issues that are basically...
Anyway, Moxie lays in a keg.
Drinks the whole barrel, which he didn't have to do.
No.
Wait, did he drink the whole barrel?
No, he gets poured out in beer. He drinks a lot.
A lot of it.
And also, what was the lead up to that? Wasn't he, like, embarrassed about something? And then...
What happened? He got, like, thrown into it, didn't he?
Yeah. But he was something, I remember specifically something happened where he was, like, embarrassed or, like, being belittled. And then he got thrown into it.
Oh, yeah. They were like, look at the little guy or something.
Which I think that's a whole thing. I would really like to dive into Moxie and substances, especially with his father. Mm-hmm. But that's a whole other thing.
Mm-hmm. That's X's and O's.
But yeah, I just wanted to note that here. Yeah. He didn't have to drink like half the keg. He didn't have to drink any of it when he was in it. He could have gone up.
Yeah, there's enough. Like, it's like, okay, maybe he was trying to just breathe, but there's enough room.
He's a fucking murderer for a living. He could get out of there.
Yeah. I don't know. Also, anyway, moving on.
Yeah, I guess there is the other edge of that, of like maybe he took one sip and got blackout because he's never drank before. But I think it's the first one.
Yeah.
Do you want to say some of the lines? Okay. You love Drunk Moxie?
You want to hear my Drunk Moxie impressions? Here we go. Millie, when did you get foreheads? I want to kiss him.
That was good.
They called me a possum. I am not a possum.
And then when Millie goes to save him and he high fives her.
Yeah. Reaches out to grab his hand and just...
Yeah. This is also where the first peg joke happens.
The first peg joke. When Moxie goes, I love that woman.
He goes, I love that woman.
And Blitz just goes, oh, she totally pegged you. Yeah.
Segue into that. Millie Supremacy.
Millie Supremacy. Millie step on me. Millie marry me. Millie wife. Millie sex now. Millie kiss.
Millie, I think, is the best fighter on the team. My opinion.
Oh, 1,000%.
Okay, yeah.
1,000%.
Like, she's the most powerful. She has the best, like, skills. I think everyone's an asset of the team. But as far as fighting goes...
She's so resourceful, too.
Yeah.
Like, in the X's Nose fight scene, she just, like, grabs a literal person and just, like, kills other people with another person.
Yeah.
Uses, like, a spine, or a
someone's spine.
To strangle someone, or I love her.
She's so good.
I want her to get more, like, I guess just more about her, like, depth as a person.
Yeah, which we're getting backstory canonically.
Canonically.
Confirmed.
Confirmed.
There we go.
But she's so slay, so girl queen, pussy boss.
Pussy boss.
Yeah.
She's so good. And I can't wait to have more of her. More of Luna, more of Millie.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
More of the women.
Women!
Vivzy
Pop? Women.
Vivzy Pop? Where the fuck are the women? Where the fuck are the women? Vivzy Pop, where the fuck are the women?
Women with backstories.
Give me the fucking women.
Women have fucking personalities, to have fucking lives. Wait. Tell us about your women.
It's conflicting because I feel like it's all like definitely being set up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not like the intention's not there. It's just that we haven't seen it yet. That's making me
I also don't know, and I said this to you, I don't know if I said this on the podcast. I think that this is a more male character heavy show.
Yes.
Because Has-Been Hotel is a female heavy show, yes?
Yeah, and I think she's even said that.
Yeah, and I think also there is a lot there that's good. Like, obviously I'm always for, like, a female central story because obviously women are so fucking marginalized.
Yeah.
But I think it specifically being a story about trauma and mental health and mental illness, and it being centered around the male characters and the abuse, especially like relationship wise, like having toxic relationships and stuff, and being centered around the males, I think is very powerful because that's not something you see in media a lot.
Yeah.
It's typically when you see those type of things represented, it's to a female or at least like a AFAB character rather than a male character.
Yeah.
And if it is shown in a male character, it's very toxically shown. And so I really do appreciate that. I just want to say that.
I agree 100%. And this is more of a commentary on fandom, I guess, than the show's intentions. But even with Has-Been Hotel, which is like has a female lead focused on like, you know, the two main like female characters.
Yeah.
A lot of the fan focus is on like the male side characters, and it's like I don't know for certain that these are the same people being like Vivzy Pop doesn't give the female characters enough in Helluva Boss. I don't know that it's the same people saying that, but it just feels as a whole very hypocritical. Where
I think the fandom as a whole is very hypocritical.
Yeah, where it's like, well, Helluva Boss, or I could definitely see it being a case where people are like, well, I don't have too many feelings about the women in Helluva Boss because they haven't gotten much yet. And it's like, okay, fair enough. But then it's like, I love Alistair from Has-Been Hotel, and don't talk about the two main female leads. Like,
I see that.
I've seen Has-Been Hotel, but I'm not very familiar with it, so I don't want to speak on that too much. And I know it is also only one episode, but like the amount of fan content for like Angel Dust and Alistair, like those were the characters that I saw online before even watching either of the shows. I didn't see anything about Charlie, who's the protagonist.
Yeah. Unfortunately, people just hate women.
People hate women. And I think I agree what you said about Helluva Boss, but also I do think the intentions are there for, like, Millie and Luna. And Octavia, I think Octavia is a very great character, though admittedly a lot of her character is based on her relationship with Stolas so far. Yeah. So I would like to see more of her just, like, independently, but
I think, honestly, we have gotten a lot of Octavia, and the thing about that, if Octavia wasn't a minor still, it would be a lot different. And if she wasn't, like, canonically rarely leaves the house, it would be different. But I think most of her life does revolve around Stolas.
And she definitely is more of a side character, so it makes sense that we don't see, like, too much of her outside of that. But whereas, you know, definitely Millie, definitely Luna, we want to see more. And I mean, we know for a fact that we're getting more, and the show itself hints at the fact that there will be more. Like, you know, we know that Luna has a whole backstory that we want to hear more about, and we know that I know Millie is, like, the big controversy, typically. And I don't know. I think once her episode drops, then you know, criticisms would be more. Not that criticisms aren't valid, but I think they'd be more valid after that point, because then it's like, okay, now this exists. Was it done well?
Which it's Vivzy Pop, so it's going to be done well.
Well, I mean, I don't want to fall into a trap of being like, I love you and you can never do anything wrong ever. But like,
oh, no, that's
from
true.
what we've seen so far, I would hope so. And if it's not done well, then I would definitely see the issue.
I also think it's going to be done well just because of the fact that C.H.E.R.U.B has admitted that it's hard to write Millie's backstory because traumatic backstories and stuff is her forte. Mm-hmm. And so the fact that she's taking the time to work on it and like form it correctly so she's representing it correctly, I think does show. And I think also her taking so much time in between episodes and like really making sure each character's like story is so well represented does say something about her as a creator. I
thought her thread on why writing Millie is so difficult for her, I thought that was really well said.
And I think it was really brave in general to say that. It was
really brave to say something like that.
Yeah.
And I think it's something that's not addressed so often, especially because a lot of like hashtag, and I say hashtag in like an ironic way here, like hashtag feminism type of characters end up having like no personality at all, or just like relying on like a trauma story.
Yeah.
And I think C.H.E.R.U.B trying and like stating that it's difficult, which makes sense given what exists in media already.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool of her to admit that, and I think it's a valid struggle to have. Mm-hmm. And I'm really excited to see what she does do with it. And I think / hope it will be worth it.
I think also she's done a very good job at putting little snippets of things in for both Luna and Millie.
Yeah.
Even if she's not ready to tell their full story. Obviously, she hasn't talked about Luna yet, and we know that Luna's story is going to be very traumatic.
Yes.
But I think like the whole comment in Lululand about when we could swing it money-wise.
Yeah.
Like, that's setting that up.
Yeah, and then that, again, in Harvest Moon, we also see more of that.
And we also know that she's not going to have a backstory that's, like, boring as hell.
Yeah.
Like, we know there's going to be some struggles, it just might not be as traumatic.
Yeah, like, did she, like, watch her father abuse her mother and then see her mother's shoe in the ocean after, like, no.
No.
But she's got something, and I'm really excited for it.
Yeah.
And I think the criticism and the people being like, I hope they do this, like, that's totally valid. Yeah. And I agree with it. But my personal take is that since we know that episode is coming, wait for the episode, then if there's still issues with it, you know.
I'm also very excited to see the backstory with Chaz, which is confirmed we're getting, right?
Millie and Chaz's relationship, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I could see being already another controversy of like, well, is Millie's backstory going to again just revolve around her relationship with a man?
I don't think so. I think they've made pins into like her childhood. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's at least going to be talked about a little bit.
I hope so.
If it is revolved around Chaz, then I take back everything I just said. C.H.E.R.U.B, don't do that.
No, because I'm also excited to see how that relationship went.
And I'm
curious, but
I'm excited to see that for a lot of reasons. One, because I want to see if it differs from Moxie's or if it was the same thing.
Yeah.
And two, how Millie's personality that we know she's had since childhood, her like very rough and tough, very like knows what she wants, gets what she wants kind of thing going on. That was poorly worded, but you know what I'm saying. Went with Chaz trying to be an abuser. Mm-hmm. Like...
Yeah, like how did that
I don't
go?
think she would take that.
Yeah.
At least not as easy as Moxie, who just wanted someone to love him.
And who grew up with abusive parents, or an abusive father, yeah. Also there's the going back to what you said about the show being, like, male-centered, and I think we've talked about this on the podcast before about who we think, like, the protagonist to be. Like, Blitz is at the center of it.
Yeah, and Blitz is the Helluva boss.
Blitz is the Helluva boss, the eponymous title character.
Yeah.
Basically. And then, I think Stolas is definitely more of a side character, but he's, like, very integral to Blitz's story as the love interest, essentially.
I would say, at this point, Blitz is the main character. Because there's title character and then there's main character. Yes, those are two separate...
They can
or
be.
Title and lead. Like, are one and then main, supporting, side.
Yeah, like, I think there can be overlap, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would say even with the main thing aside, that Stolas is definitely a supporting character.
Yes, I agree.
As a part to aside, and Millie and Moxie. Luna's
more supporting our side.
I think she bridges supporting inside, and Octavia's in that little thing as well.
I think more leaning towards side.
Because
Octavia.
side, I would say, until soon, so what we know right now, I would say is, like, Fizz, Wally. Fizz might even be bordering supporting.
I'd say side for Fizz. I don't know if we have enough of Wally. I know he shows up a lot, but he doesn't do much yet. I think he's gonna come back for sure.
But Crimson, like, those are side, I would say.
What is the distinction between supporting and side?
Supporting has a significant amount of dialogue and carries the story.
Okay.
And
side is less than that.
Yeah, and like if side weren't there, the story could still go on, but but not like, obviously that wouldn't work for, like, Crimson, but, like, if we didn't have that moment with Crimson, we could still have Moxie's backstory, like, it would still exist.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I think that's the basic description. Okay. Also, I'm pulling out of my theater knowledge right now, from freshman year, so I could be really wrong.
Yeah. Where I was going with this, in any case, is that with it being a more male-focused show, which we know from the horse's mouth. Get it? Because Blitz, but also the Spindle Horse. Anyway, we know from VivziePop that is, like, the intention, and that is the case. Mm-hmm. I think, not that Millie is less important of a character, I wouldn't say that, but I'd say that the focus deliberately not being placed on her as much until, whenever we get that, I don't think that's... Not that I don't want more of her, and I think it will definitely be, like, necessary and beneficial to the show, but I don't know how to word this without it sounding bad. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
I get what you're trying to say. Yes. I understand what you're saying, yeah.
But, like, and I say that fully wanting more of Millie. I'm not saying that
we want Millie and we want Luna.
Like, if we didn't get more Millie, I would be so devastated and angry even. But
it makes sense, and also VivziePop has voiced why.
She's voiced why.
And voiced that it's going to happen. I think it's being handled well, personally.
I think the one, like, critique that I do have now that I think, like, holds up even without, even knowing that we're getting more, I think this critique still holds up the fact that so much of Millie revolves around the men in the show. Yeah. And with it being a male-focused show, but that still, it still feels icky to me. Also, to my knowledge, does this show pass the Bechdel test? Because just out of curiosity, I don't think it does. For reminder/clarification, Bechdel test is 2 female characters have to have a conversation with each other about something other than a man, and then in most variations of the test, those characters have to be named.
Yeah, I was about to say Seeing Stars, but nope, that's about a man.
No, yeah. I don't think it does. And not that the Bechdel test is, like, an instant, like,
yeah, because
good show, bad show. That's not the case.
Obviously, also, like, using Seeing Stars as an example, it's about a man, yes, but it's about their fathers and how it shapes them as people.
Yeah.
So I think it's different than what the Bechdel test was meant to test.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the Bechdel test isn't like, if it doesn't pass the Bechdel test, then it's like #not feminist.
But, like, for like, using it as an example, like, using the Bechdel test in, like, a Marvel movie is definitely the way it was meant to be used, and then therefore it's very valid.
Yes. No, it's a valid test for sure. I just, like, I think some people interpret it as, like, doesn't pass the Bechdel test, therefore not good.
It's like the golden rule.
But there are some medias where we were talking about this on our other podcast, the Dad Pod, about how, like, we talked about in Knives Out how, like, the family being white is, like, very, like, it makes sense that they're white, and the same could be said about, like, characters being male in media. So, like, if something only has men in it, obviously it won't pass the Bechdel test, but that doesn't mean that's just wasn't the intention. And
sorry, my first thought when you said that for some reason was The Outsiders.
No, no, you're right.
Yeah, that's a good example.
That's a great example. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, how long have we been talking about Millie for? Because we still have C.H.E.R.U.B to get into.
But she deserves it.
No, she deserves it for sure. And
yeah, let's speed run the end.
Yeah, I hope everything I said came across the right way. TLDR, love Millie, want more, but makes sense thus far.
I would love to do an entire episode just on the representation in the show. Mm-hmm. I would eat that up. I know that I already had a different plan for my standalone episode this summer, but...
Yeah. Did we mention that we're doing the standalone? Are we definitely doing the standalone episode? Because...
we can put a little hook in there, and then we can talk about it next week.
Okay. Because next week.
Yeah.
I don't want to forget.
For our last one of the semester.
Because I was going to say our tentative plan. We could say our tentative plan, and then if this changes by next episode, we can clarify.
Yeah, if we can do it quickly. We're already at 1 hour and 15.
Okay, sorry. Our tentative plan for this summer, because 2 weeks from now, we will be doing our episode on Harvest Moon Festival. Mm-hmm. So our plan for the summer is to release... our probably 2-part episode.
If not more,
on Truth Seekers over the summer at some point. And then also for each of us to maybe do standalone, or like each of us have our own episode where we talk about something from the show that is
very passionate about.
That we're very passionate about. Yeah.
My tentative idea was Blitz's relationship history and all of my theories on that, because I have a lot of feelings about Fizz, a lot of them.
Yeah.
But I would also just love to talk about the representation. That's my whole thing.
Yeah. I'm not sure what I want to do yet. Maybe after the episode drops this weekend, I'll have a better idea.
Oh, God, yeah.
Sorry, I've needed to clear my throat for like 30 minutes. Okay.
Let's speed run. Ready? 3, 2, 1, speed run. Blitz flips them off when he goes into the portal. He comes back up and goes, and it's funny.
Yeah. The anti-cop messaging in the show in this episode, and then it's again in a later episode.
Yeah, it's good. We like it. Hashtag ACAB.
Hashtag ACAB. Okay, C.H.E.R.U.B.
C.H.E.R.U.B. Do-do-do. In the beginning of C.H.E.R.U.B, when Blitz is shooting the TV, Millie says, "Nice one, B."
She calls him B.
This is just cute.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
Hashtag friendship, hashtag family.
Yeah, stop with the fat jokes.
Stop with the fat jokes. They're not funny.
Vivzy Pop, come here, Come here,
Vivzy Pop.
Stop making fat-phobic jokes.
Stop with the fat-phobic jokes.
Stop it.
Shut the fuck up.
Stop it. Your show is so good, but stop it.
Stop it.
Stop it.
Stop it.
Stop it.
Stop it. I'm gonna revoke my kiss if you don't stop it.
Okay, anyway, Blitzo says to whatever his name is,
to the loopy doopy guy.
What's the thesis?
His gay ass.
Yeah.
Moxie keeps getting nearly killed. He gets crushed like twice in this episode.
Under one of them, someone says something and he says, "That's kind of hot." From great. Under the fucking break. We already talked about the whiteboard. When C.H.E.R.U.B shows up for the rich guy who's trying to kill himself.
Hashtag suicide prevention.
Yeah. Blitz is like, "Moxie, what do we have for this guy?" And he pulls out so many weapons and is like, "This is the formal name for all of these weapons." And he's so autistic and his special interest is weapons and I fucking love him.
So autistic. The outfit changes in this episode throughout the show are great, but in this episode specifically, they change outfits a lot, and they all go so hard.
Yeah.
Love the designs. Blitz has what scene is... Oh, they're looking through the window at the guy who wants to kill himself, and Blitz has a cat sock puppet on his tail, and then when the C.H.E.R.U.B show up, his sock puppet blows away, and Blitz is just so fucking sad.
Yeah.
The sock blowing away.
Yeah, he also feeds it popcorn, I believe.
Yeah.
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 This ties into Blitzo literally... I said Blitzo. I'm the worst ever.
You dead named him.
I'm so sorry. It's because it has the O with not crossed out on the doc.
Yeah.
Blitz has cat energy so hard he purrs.
He purrs. He sits like a cat.
He's a cat. You can take this one if you want.
He has the
Mary
Jane horse. What was it called? The mare. I forget what it was called.
I think it's just Mary Jane.
Wait.
The little weed horse.
Marijuana. That's what it was.
Marijuana. Oh, that makes sense.
Horse. Blitz smokes weed? ? I believe it.
Yeah.
Oh, we haven't Stolus.
Yeah, but that's in Harvest Moon, and we're not 100% if that's weed or if that's a cigar. Right. But we can talk about the next episode.
Yeah.
At the mall, they're having in the human world, that they're having a Christmas celebration.
Yeah.
So that poses the question of how long has it been since episode 1?
Which was January 9th, canonically.
After January 9th, because that was in the living world and after the woman had healed. So significantly after.
Yeah.
I think I don't have a lot of thoughts for this one. It just is a significant, like, this is December, maybe early November in the human world. And so, like, that's a very good indicator of time. Yeah. So I just wonder about the timeline.
Me too, yeah. Eminem, they were so good in this episode.
They're so good.
I don't like this episode very much, but I love them in it. They're so good.
They have a lot of sweet little moments.
They do, yeah. Their little, like, make-out when they're, like, swinging around the room and their tongues are going wild. Yeah.
Also, Moxie in this episode, his fighting.
Yeah.
Like, we don't see a lot of Moxie fighting, honestly, in this show.
Yeah.
Because he's, like, fucking up or, like, being strategic or whatever. Mm-hmm. That fight scene, though, he did really good in. Like, that's the one thing, if I had to take something away from C.H.E.R.U.B, other than, like, some of the little story-esque things, would be that Moxie actually fights really well in it. Yeah.
And then our last big bullet point is Wally Wackford, who is the guy, the Wacky Wally guy on the commercial, who we noticed in our rewatch shows up multiple times throughout the show in random ass spots.
Yeah. It's in the beginning of and the end of this episode, he's there.
He's there.
And then in Ozzy's.
Yeah. And he knows Blitz somehow.
Yeah, he says Blitzo with a hard O.
Blitzo, yeah.
He's like, Blitzo. It's like so intentional, and Blitz is so fucking offended by this. Like, he usually is offended when people call him Blitzo, but he, like, fully is like,
maybe he really wasn't expecting it. Or maybe this is someone that he only knew pre-leaving the circus. Yeah. So they don't know that he's Blitz now. And
yeah, I was going to say, there's a reason he doesn't say, like, well, then in that case, he'd probably be like, it's just Blitz now. Right. So, if he does know him from before, he probably has a negative relationship with him, would be my guess.
Yeah. And then and also Blitz shoots the TV when his commercial comes up. Like, he was specifically looking for something that made him angry.
Yeah, he says, bingo.
And then he shoots the Wally Wackford commercial. Yeah. So that's interesting. And then the other little thing we put is that, does he look like Crimson intentionally?
Because he really looks like Crimson.
He really looks like Crimson.
Because I remember when I first watched it, for the second, like, watched C.H.E.R.U.B again. Yeah. I was like, I was like, is this Moxie's family? Yeah. And then at the end, it was like, this is Wally, and I was like, oh, wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah, it was like, what? Oh, not Crimson, but...
That happened in, when we rewatched Ozzy's C.H.E.R.U.B, I was like, no.
Yeah, so
Wally.
I wonder if that's intentional.
Yeah.
And if so, where are they going with that?
Which, Wally coming from Greed would make so much sense.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He probably definitely does. Yeah. So maybe that's the only connection, that they're both from Greed, but...
Yeah, and that also begs the question, is Crimson originally from Greed? Because we know that his family didn't live in Greed originally. Right. But there's the chance that he moved out and then moved back in. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot. We've been talking for so long.
Yep, and we need to wrap it up.
Okay, follow the Instagram at AA Discussions. We post about this podcast, we post about our other podcast, we post silly things, we post questions, we post updates, we follow it.
Yeah, follow it. If you want to stay updated with us, with the Dad Pod, with Helluva Podcast, with our silly little Instagram posts, with all of our million projects that we probably will have more of. Yep.
Maybe at this rate, we have a podcast every semester of college. So, maybe in 3 years, we'll have 8 podcasts.
Yeah, so...
stick around for that.
We're also writing a musical, so maybe we'll post about that. But yeah, go follow that. You can also message us on there if you have things you want us to talk about, if you want to be a guest on the Dad Pod. Yeah. If anything. Yep. You can message us on there.
What is our Helluva Q&A for the week?
Probably one of the things that we're going to post on the story. Yeah. How do you think Blitz... why do you think Blitz has the markings?
Yeah, I feel like that wasn't really related to either of the episodes we talked about. We just talked about it for a while.
For so long, yeah.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Even though we're going to talk about that next week more because of Harvest Moon. Yeah. But, yeah.
We'll probably just mention it every episode, so might as well just ask it now. Yeah. Yeah, so...
Yeah, that's the question of the week.
Q&A, what do you think Blitz's markings are? Their scar, what do you think it's from? Yeah. Etc. My voice is gone. It's been like an hour and a half.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you so much for your water.
You're welcome. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in 2 weeks for the final episode of the semester.
Woo! you.
Ooh, bye.